What's up, dudes and dudettes, fellow people of the internet, all of you lovely Game Dev Underground people. Today, our subject is synergy. We're talking about synergy between mechanics and the theme, and theme elements and all that great stuff. Basically, the idea of inclusion and building stuff that works together. Because this is another one of those issues that I seem to struggle with in my own personal life. So let's get into it. What is synergy? All that great stuff. Why do you need it? Why is it important? Well, synergy is essentially having things work well together, or things that complement each other. So, for example, a steering wheel has good synergy with the way that cars operate. It works really well on modern vehicles. It's just how we work. That's why you don't see new cars come out every day with a different driving apparatus. It's just those two things have synergy together. In one of the games that I play a lot, Destiny, right? There are abilities that have synergy together in the game. So for example, there's a grenade perk that allows you to recharge your melee ability, and there's a melee ability that allows you to recharge your grenade perk. Those two things have synergy together. They work well together, and they make something really cool when you combine them. Basically, those two things combined are greater than the sum of their parts, right? They are more effective that way. And this is something we see a lot in really good game design, in games that are really designed well and have really great elements to them. And when your mechanics are chosen properly, your theme is chosen properly, and all that stuff, you can build great synergy between some of the mechanics in your game, and it feels right. There's nothing else on the planet that give you that same feeling of just synergy between mechanics, and it feels great. So I've actually done this badly. Kind of the example of my channel, right? Dudes, I fucked some shit up. Here's what I did wrong. Don't be me. That's pretty much my channel at this point. And I don't think I've done this well in a lot of my games. And we'll take Philophobia for an example. One of the things that I'm starting to realize, and this is one of the reasons why it got delayed too, is it has a shadow mechanic, right? It has a mechanic where you can only see what's in your line of sight. You can only see the things that you would actually see if you were looking straight at them. So if something's behind a box, you don't see it because of the shadow mechanic. If something's behind a wall, you don't see it because of the shadow mechanic, and so on and so forth. And then at the same time, I have elements in the game that force you to go quickly. I have these enemies that trigger each other, and they kill you when they hit you. So essentially, I have some levels that you trigger these enemies in the beginning, and you basically have to race them to the end. But what I failed to kind of realize, and I've learned this in testing, is that those two things don't necessarily have synergy together. They don't work well together. Because on one hand, you have this really cool shadow mechanic that blocks players' views, and it gives them a sense of mystery and discovery, and it makes them want to explore. But then you have this other mechanic that just rushes them. It tries to get them to go as quickly as possible, but they can't even see where they're going, and it's just rush, rush, rush. And players can't necessarily tell me that it's frustrating, but I can tell by their voice, by where they quit in the game, by, just how they control their character. Like, there are some people that have filmed videos and testing it, and they'll go back and forth on the keyboard. It's almost like I can see their frustration through the character. It's amazing. But I've noticed this, and I started noticing this more on certain levels, and I just realized that those mechanics don't necessarily have synergy together, and those things should not be paired together because they don't work together. And so it's important to really kind of look at the different elements in your game and figure out what things work together and what things don't. Because you may, if you're looking at 5 mechanics, 3 of them work really well together in a lot of different ways, in a lot of different spaces. You may want to consider cutting the 2 that don't, right? Just because they're cool mechanics, and just because they work, if they don't fit in and they don't have synergy with the rest of everything that you're creating, you may want to consider cutting them out, because it's not something that works well together. And this is the important part too, because players will never tell you these things don't have synergy, these things don't work well together. If you get a designer to analyze your game, they may be able to dictate it. But a lot of times people don't understand this stuff. They don't understand why they feel frustrated. They don't understand what's going on. And it's important for you to kind of watch and kind of understand that these things work well together. If you have a lot of abilities in your game, for example, you can watch which ones people use together often, or which ones people like to use. Or, you know, if you have different classes or something like that, you know, try and design a certain class around a bunch of stuff that works well together. Don't necessarily give this guy a big shield and a big gun, right? Maybe separate those out to two different guys. This guy's the tank, and this guy's the damage. This guy can take all the damage. This guy can deal all the damage. And all of his perks are about dealing damage and getting bonus when he kills people, and getting, you know, amplifying his damage. And then this guy, like, he has a shield. He has an extra regen ability when this, like, building mechanics and building perks and building all these different things that have synergy together and they work well together is a really, really cool feeling. It's very hard to do, but it's really effective when you do it right. And this is just something that I'm learning more and more. It's one of those things that just makes great design so brilliant. When you play a game that just, it works so well, and you're like, how does someone design this? Right? Like, I've played so many of those games, and it used to bum me out, because I was like, damn, how can I ever make a game like that? Like, that's insane. And what I've realized is, like, it's not so much designed as it is discovered. And it just takes a lot of playtesting and iteration and kind of watching what people do and watching what people say, to where you kind of discover what works well together, what doesn't. This works, that doesn't. And you just got to kind of, like, understand the relationships between the different elements in your game. And it's one of those things that you just have to pay attention in playtesting, because a lot of this stuff really comes out in playtesting. Sure, you can design stuff ahead of time, but nothing's going to compare to an actual person just jumping in there and picking what they want to use and using the stuff the way that they see fit and all that stuff. So that's all I got for you today. I hope you found it useful. If you did, hit that like button, hit the subscribe button if you're not subscribed. Leave me a comment. Let me know your thoughts on synergy in games. Let me know if you know of a game that has really good synergy between mechanics. Let me know if you've ever developed a game that has really good synergy and mechanics. That's all I got. Thank you for watching. My name is Tim Roswick, and I'll see you again tomorrow.